Hey everybody! For my last video of the year, I wanted to talk to you about how I catalog and organize my stamps and dies. I have 3 sets of envelopes and bins, small for small stamp sets, large for large stamps and stencils, and then a medium one for standalone dies. This is the app that I use to catalog and organize my stamps, dies, and stencils, since those are the 3 things that I use the most often. And I use this to help me design projects and also to quickly retrieve information so that I can blog projects effectively and easily and with very little work. You can see at the top I have a stamp tab, a die tab, and a stencil tab. You can have these be independent or you can have them linked together as I do here. You can see this Celebrate You has a matching product over in the Stamps tab, and those are forever linked. It's very easy to do. I use filters to help me design projects. So for example, let's say I made a card with a sun on it, and I wanted just the perfect sentiment for that. I would click Filter, and I would say where sentiments has any of, and I would type in sunshine, and it will give me every single stamp set that I own that matches that filter. I have them organized in here by manufacturer and then alphabetically, which is also how I have my stamps and dies organized. And I'll show you how to do that as well. But it's nice to be able to see every sunshine sentiment that you have all at once. I think it's the genius of this product. I can also sort by theme. That's something that I chose to set up. So if I want to look at every single one of my Christmas sets, I just change the filter to theme, click Christmas, which is already one of my themes that I've entered, and I can see every Christmas set that I own regardless of manufacturer. It's really brilliant. And I tried a bunch of different apps and none of them did what I wanted. What I like about this one is it's completely customizable. So everything you see here is what I did. You can make yours be whatever you want. The grouping that I have by manufacturer, you can go into your dies tab and say I want to see all the word dies, and it will show you everything that I've tagged as a word die. I have different types set up that I'll walk you through that work for me, but again, you can do whatever you want with this software. Now, it does have both an app, which is very easy to use, and it has the desktop version. I type a lot faster on the desktop, so I like to type my sentiments in on the desktop. But a lot of times I'll put the stamp set in, just the basic information about it, on my phone when I'm stamping or putting away my stamps. Now, the filter can also show you whether or not a certain field is empty. So if I want to do a little work and I realize I've left the photo off of some of my stamps, I can go clean them up by filtering it so that it shows me everywhere where a picture is empty. Now, these are called bases, and so I'm going to start a new base for you to show you how I set mine up from the very, very beginning. So you can see mine says Lydia Inventory, but we'll set up a new one, and we're just going to call this Sample Stamp Inventory. You can choose a little icon for it. You can choose a color. You can duplicate a base that you already have, etc. So this is what sort of the default base looks like. And you can get rid of all this, you can start over, you can add. But I'm just going to walk you through what I did and the different types of selections that I have. So it already has name, which is great. So the second field I'm going to add is manufacturer. The type of field that you choose will influence how you retrieve that information. So, for example, I'm just going to set up Concord and Ninth as a manufacturer, and I'm going to set this up as a multi-select, meaning everything that I set up will show up as an option later on, so I won't have to enter Concord and Ninth again. The next field is going to be photo. This is really important for me to be able to see the stamp set when I'm looking for something in particular, because I might be looking for a particular size, sentiment, etc. And I don't want to have to go look at the physical stamp when it's this easy. The type, I use this to differentiate photopolymer stamps from cling rubber stamps, from wood stamps. And this is a single select field. So I'm just going to put the options in here, and then I can select them at any time in the future for any record. You'll want to name your tabs. I'm naming this tab stamps, and then I'll add other tabs for other types of products. Next is the link. This is very helpful if you're a craft blogger. You can quickly grab this link. You can stick it into your blog post and move on. It's a lot easier than searching multiple manufacturers' websites for a link to a product. Sentiments is the reason I created this database. The way I design is I design with an image first, and then I want the perfect sentiment, and I didn't have a way to retrieve the sentiments that I had, and this makes it so quick. I type them all in when I get the stamp set. And I set it up in here, and then I can grab it. Then there's theme. This is important too. Like I said, Christmas, Halloween, holidays, sympathy, that kind of thing goes under theme. I do price because I actually add this to my homeowner's insurance. Since this is my job, I want those products insured. And then I'm adding a field for dies, meaning a matching die for this stamp set that I can link it to. And then I also have a field for retired, because I want to know whether or not this is retired, because I know it can be frustrating when people are reading blog posts if they can't get the product anymore. So I want to be careful either not to blog those or to let people know that it's not available anymore. Now, once you've set these themes up, this is how I enter a stamp set. I have an imaginary stamp set called Happy Bunny. And if you just hit enter, it'll bring the drop down of those multiple options that you have up, or you can hit that little plus. And if you start typing something that isn't already in your list, you'll see create a new option named Picket Fence Studios. And that's what you can do. It's just easy and quick, takes 2 seconds. Now, if you want to go grab the photograph, at first I was just taking a picture with my phone of the stamp set, so you can actually see in my original base, there's some really terrible cell phone photos in there. But I found out that it's actually easier just to grab the image address of the product on the manufacturer's website. And you would do that by right-clicking and doing copy image address to add the photo. However, since I was just showing you cute pictures of bunnies while I was explaining that, you can't use a long Google search link in here. So I wanted to show you the error that you'll get when you do that. You'll need to go directly to that product and get the photo image from there. So now I'll set up my Dies tab. I'm going to add the same fields, basically, and you have the ability to drag these around and put them in whatever order you want. So after I add the photo field, which the field type is attachment, as you can see there, you move it until you see that little blue line appear, and that's where that column will go. So I'll move each of these so you can kind of get used to this. But the fields are the same as they are in my Stamps tab for the most part. The difference would be for dies, I have a type for stamps that's photopolymer, cling rubber, etc. But for dies, the types that are important to me are, is this a word die? And then if it is, I also have a sentiments field where I add the word that the die spells out under sentiments. Is it a die that just matches the stamp set? Is it an interactive die? Is it a shape die that could be independent from the stamp set? So let's say there's a die that has a star. Well, you don't need the stamp to use the star die, and so I need to know that. Like, that is a standalone shape. So that's what you're seeing me enter here, and those are the types that I find helpful when I am looking for a die cut. Like I said, the sentiments are, if it is a word die, the sentiment would be whatever word it is. This is really useful when you're designing. A lot of times what I do if I'm working on a background, I just want something that says hello or hi. It really helps me to be able to search these for the right size, the right word, that type of thing. Again, I do add the price. That price is for anything that I've personally bought. It's the price that I paid. Retired, again. Another thing that the retired field does for you is if you've used a stamp or a die or a stencil that's now retired, you can filter by retired, and that might be everything that you put in your stamp garage sale. And then you can kind of move that out of your inventory. I usually keep mine filtered to filter out retired. Someday I'll be organized enough that I will have all my retired stuff in one section so that when I'm just playing, just for me and not blogging, I can find that. So now I'm going to add a photo using a link. So I went right to that picket fence product. I did copy image address. I put it in the attachment field. Wait just a second for this on the desktop. It does take a sec to upload that photo. And then you have a nice professional photo that's from a manufacturer, and you can see exactly what's in that stamp set. Now, you can add all the manufacturers as you go. That's kind of how I set mine up. And then, I add these different options as I go. If it doesn't have a sentiment, I just leave it blank. I skip that. And then you can see right there under stamps, that's how I link it to the stamp set that I set up called Happy Bunny. And now those two are linked together forever, which is phenomenal. You can link anything. It doesn't have to just be matching stamps and dies. Altenew has stamps, dies, and stencils that match, so you would also want to match the stencil, that kind of thing. So now you can see what a complete record looks like, and you can see my grouping. So I click on grouped, and I group it by manufacturer, and then you have the sort option next to that where you can sort it alphabetically, you can sort it by price, you can sort by anything, and all of these can be changed back and forth. None of them are permanent. So I'll show you once again on mine how it's sorted. So I sort by manufacturer first, then you can do by name, then you can do link, you can do anything for the sorting. For me, I wanted it to be sorted the same way they're physically sorted in my stamp room, which is manufacturer, alphabetical, and then name within manufacturer, also alphabetical. So basically, this is a visual representation of how my stamps look in my room. You can hide fields if you want. So you can, let's say I don't want to see picture. I can click on hide field, toggle that off, and it sort of compresses that view. So if you're looking for something quickly and you don't want to see all those fields, just hide the ones you don't want to see, and it'll compress your view down to what you do want to see. And again, nothing's permanent. It's showing me at the top that I have one hidden field, and I can toggle that right back off. I hope this is helpful to you. I have links to everything I've talked about below the video. I hope you have a happy new year. Thanks so much for watching.